is the people who use their cult-like following to harm and take advantage of people, rather than those, like I would say Joe Rogan's got a cult-like following. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah.
I would say, Ronaldo has a cult-like following, right? Massive cult-like following. There are many actors and singers and comedians that have cult-like following. Podcasters have cult-like followings. But what's the switch? Like, if you look at the pattern of a guy that uses their influence and their cult-like following to turn it into hurting somebody, harming somebody, what is that switch? Where are those guys willing to go to that others with high influence don't? What's the difference? What's the place they're willing to go to?
Where we're going is that basically the leader takes control of critical thinking and decision-making and value judgments. And the followers become increasingly socially isolated because the leader influences them to cut off family, old friends, and to embed in this, if you will, bubble or alternate reality controlled by the leader. So as the leader takes his following further and further away from their moorings, their family, their community, and isolates them, they become very easily influenced because they have no other frame of reference. And everyone around them, by a deliberate process, is a member of this group. So if, for example, you look at someone else and say, hey, I think what the leader's saying sounds kind of crazy. The person next to you, what are you talking about? He's all powerful, he's wonderful. We should just go along with him. So there's no way to get accurate feedback as you become more and more embedded. And then once you lose your friends, your family, you're socially isolated in this group, and the leader starts telling you that the outside world is evil, everyone is really negative, they're awful, and only the people within this group are right and good, and we need to protect ourselves. We need to defend ourselves against the persecution and the onslaught from the outside world. This is when it starts getting very dark. And then the leader can say things like, let's attack the Tokyo subway system, which Shoko Asahara, the leader of Aum Shinrikyo, did, and thousands of Japanese in the 90s were hospitalized. Many died. Or you can have a situation which recently happened in Kenya, where the leader of this group called the Good News International Church, Paul Mackenzie, told his people to fast and pray because the end of the world was coming, and over 400 bodies have been recovered in Kenya. So
how did they die? How did they take their lives?
They died from starvation, and hundreds of them were children. And so not only did the adults fast and pray and starve to death, but their children did as well. And this is one of the most horrible things about destructive cults.
Can you pull up the picture of the leader? Please continue. Go for
it. This is one of the most horrible things about destructive cults is we can talk about the process of undue influence and coercive persuasion and how people are bent to the will of the leader. But, their children are simply brought in by their parents who think the group is good, and the children then become captives, if you will, of the cult. And many times children are hurt terribly. I recently have been involved in helping the children of a group called Lev Tahor, which is a spin-off of ultra-Orthodox Judaism. This is a group that has members from New York, from the United States, Canada, and Israel. And after fleeing multiple investigations for child abuse, they ended up in Guatemala. And they created a compound outside of Guatemala City. Eventually, the authorities rescued over 150 children from that compound who were being horribly mistreated. And sexually abused, physically abused, not receiving proper care, food, medical care. And this is what happens in destructive cults, is the children suffer because they were brought into this group or born into this group, and they have no other choice.